Guys, I am so freaking excited about season 15. I cannot believe that they did that they went there. So, a little disclaimer, this is going to be a reaction video to the season finale, so if you haven't watched it, please do not watch this video, there are going to be spoilers. I have to admit that I wasn't really excited about this episode. I was depressed and disappointed after the season finale of The Magicians. I did not like Endgame. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I did not like it, especially those last 2 minutes. And between the three of them, I was sure that the only one who was going to really disappoint me was going to be Supernatural, and oh boy, was I wrong. But I am happy to be proven wrong in this particular case. I am really happy that this is the episode that they chose to write for the season finale and as a beginning for what is going to be a very exciting season 15. I hope so, at least. I didn't particularly like this season, and especially what they did in these last few episodes. I was convinced that the big bad of season 15 was going to be the Empty, and then in the last few episodes they sort of, deviated from the path, and it looked like Jack was going to be the bad guy, and I did not like that because I thought it was going to revert the character back to a villain, a simple villain, and they did the same, I believe, with Lucifer, who's still one of my favorite characters, but in season 5 he was a very complex villain. And then when he came back, and I'm not talking about Lucifer in season 7, I'm talking about, the Lucifer we got in season 11 and 12, and they dragged it on, and it was your stereotypical bad guy, and I did not like that, and I didn't want the same fate for Jack. And I especially didn't want it because it contradicted what the premises of the show have always been about, which is free will. Like, you are not what you are destined to be, you are what you choose to be. So I'm really happy that by the end of the episode, Jack told Castiel that even without a soul, he wanted to be good. He wanted to do what is right. So I really appreciated that they didn't go down that road. I haven't read a lot of meta-analysis in the last few weeks, so that's probably why I didn't see this coming. I mean, I knew that Chuck was gonna come back, and I hoped that Jack was going to choose the light side of the Force, but I wasn't sure. And this isn't how I envisioned Chuck's involvement in the plot. I mean, I thought that maybe he was going to help the guys restore Jack's soul. I did not see this coming, and so I'm really happy about the events. I understand if people are going to be disappointed by this sudden change in Chuck's character, but I do believe that we are still, in love maybe with Prophet Chuck, which was a lovable guy. But even by the end of season 5, you can understand that God is not really a good guy. This sort of detachment is rules about not involve himself in what happens in the world. It's not a good character trait in what is supposed to be a good guy. And so obviously we're going into season 15, which is going to be the last of the series, and we needed a bad guy, and who's bigger and better in this case than God. So they went there. I am really happy about it. There were a couple of good moments in the episode. I particularly enjoyed. The first one is sort of a funny one because at a certain point Chuck says that Dean and Sam are his favorite characters, and he likes this story and this show, even the Leviathans and the British Man of Letters. So I always like these little tidbits that tell us that, you know, the show is self-aware, and it does a little, you know, irony on itself. And it's good that it's Chuck the one to do it, because back in season 4, when we were introduced to the prophet Chuck, it was the audience linked to the show and a way for the showrunners to talk to their audience. And I've always loved this meta-analysis that the show does on itself. And then there was the part when Chuck talks about Billy, and he says that he doesn't like her very much because she's usually poking her side into things that, you know, she shouldn't meddle. And by then I was like, you know, red alert, something is wrong. And my mind flashed back to that conversation. I think it was in the first episode where Death was introduced back in season 5, 2 Minutes to Midnight, and he's talking about God with Dean, and he says that he doesn't even remember who's older between him and God, but that one day he's gonna rip him as well. And by the end of the episode, Billy shows up, and I think that she's going to sort of save Jack from the empty, and maybe they'll team up and they are going to kill God together with the Winchester. So I'm really happy about that. And then, you know, I also love that part where Sam stands up to God, because in the past it was Dean, the one who didn't believe, you know, he didn't believe in angels, he didn't believe in God. He had a beautiful conversation with Chuck, in which he told him that, you know, it's sort of Chuck became sort of his father figure. It was a John, a supernatural John that Dean had a conversation with, and he told him that he didn't like his non-involvement in the business of the world, because he just witnessed people suffering and he didn't do anything. And it wasn't right that the weight of the world had to fall on Dean's and Sam's shoulders. And in this case, it was Sam who did the same, you know, the same speech to Chuck, and I really loved that, because the show has been building up to make Sam a leader, and I think that this proved that he is the kind of guy who would, you know, fight for what is right no matter what, no matter is standing in front of. So go Sam, I really love you. And then I also like the part, I'm still talking about the characters, I love the part where Cass stood up to Dean, because this is not something that usually happens, especially in the last seasons. After season 6, Cass had a lot to repent for, you know, and especially he wanted Dean's forgiveness, and so it's always been a little, you know, he didn't want to poke the sleeping dog, and in the last few episodes it did stand up to Dean, and I'm really glad he did that, because he now understands that he is part of the family and Jack is part of the family, and you don't abandon family even when they do something so massive as to kill your mom. Obviously I'm not very happy about Mary's death, but you know, it's supernatural whenever as a female character met a good end. So I really like that, and of course I'm a Celestial shipper, I'm sorry guys, but I really like those moments, and you can tell that Sam is, you know, is a little wary of the situation. And then we have that scene where Jack basically you know, snaps his fingers like Thanos. He doesn't, obviously, but he forces people to tell the truth, to not lie. And you see that a gay couple is breaking up, and then there are these parents with their child, and they're divorcing, and I was like, what is happening? Okay, I get it, show, I get it. But then by the end of the episode, I mean, of course they're going to come together again because they have a new threat to defeat, and so they are going to put aside their differences, also because Dean in the end doesn't kill Jack, thank God, and so I think that conflict is going to be resolved pretty soon. I understand why Dean acted the way he did, because he's always been, between the three of them, the more angry and the one who, you know, he tends to respond with violence, but at the end of the day he's also the more compassionate one maybe, and he's always the one who is ready to stand up for his family even when nobody else would. So I'm really happy that he didn't go through with his plan to kill Jack, even if I didn't, you know, I was obviously on Team Cass and Team Sam. What I really liked was that by the end of the episode, Chuck, you know, comes out as the villain, and he says something. He says, this is going to be the end, or something along those lines. But as soon as I heard the end, obviously I couldn't think about what is one of my favorite episodes to this day, which is the end. And years ago I thought that if the show was going to end tragically, then I would have liked for it to end like in the end. I really loved that episode. It was amazing to see Dean from the past, you know, react to his future self, and it was the first episode where I was like, oh my god, Jared, you are an amazing actor, because that performance, that Lucifer performance, was beyond anything I could have possibly imagined, you know, from Jared. It was so good. And then I thought, you know, I don't think that the show is going to end tragically. I think that we are going to get a happy ending as it is possible for a show like Supernatural. So I know that we are not going that way, but at the same time I'm really happy that the possibility is still there. And I love a circular structure. So I was really happy when they brought Mary back in season 11, because I thought that was a beautiful way to close the circle. I would have been content with the show ending that way. But now it's the last season, and we are going to go back to its origins, to season 1. When I saw the woman in white, I screamed. I was like so excited. And so we are going to see all those monsters and all those, you know, legends that have accompanied us for the last 14 years, and I'm so happy, guys. I don't know what to say, because I'm really excited about this. And then the big bad obviously is going to be God, and we are going to possibly kill God. And I can't believe they went there. I can't believe they had the guts to do that, but they did. So you go, show. There are a couple of things that I am still waiting for, you know, waiting to happen. Like the whole thing with the empty. I don't want the show to end without this threat, with this threat looming over Cass, because I want Cass to be happy, but I don't want to, I don't want the empty to come and snatch him away, you know. So I hope that Billy or Jack or someone else is going to defeat that threat. To be honest, before the season finale, I thought I had this theory that the show was going to be about, you know, closing the gates of hell and closing heaven, you know, maybe using the tablets again. And so I really believed that Sam and Dean and Castiel will work together to avoid, you know, that these massive supernatural reigns and dominions were going to be a threat in the future, and that maybe Sam was going to be the leader of a worldwide hunters organization, and they were going to keep fighting, but for human threats, you know, vampires and werewolves, but not demons and angels anymore. I thought that the show was going to end with them on a hunt, but that these two massive supernatural dominions were going to be closed. So I don't know if this is going to happen still next year. I hope so. I don't know. We still have a lot of unresolved issues for what for heaven, because heaven is still going to shut down. Probably there are no more angels. I thought that Jack was going to be the one to bring all the angels back from the empty. I don't know if this is going to happen still, but I'm really excited, and I cannot wait for October when season 15 starts. So I hope you guys enjoyed this finale as much as I did, and see you again in October. Bye.